What's going on, everyone? This is Trevor here for RSG, and I'm going to show you how I built my friend's computer that you see right over here. All the stuff built in a Fractal Design R4 case. We got an AMD FX 8350, a GTX 960, and we got a 120 gig SSD from SanDisk and a 2 terabyte from Seagate. And we also have the ASUS motherboard that you see back there, the M5A99X Evo R2. We got a 650 gold edition, gold 80 plus gold certified power supply over there. We got a little ASUS, DVD rewritable drive. We got 2400 megahertz, as you see right there, CORSAIR, 16 gigabytes of 2400 megahertz CORSAIR memory, and of course we have the gigantic Hyper 212 Evo cooler from Cooler Master that is going to keep everything nice and cool inside of the wonderful Fractal Design R4 case. And everything this video is going to show you is how easy it is to build, because my friend asked me to make a budget system for him, and I did it. And I haven't built something in 4 years. I haven't built a computer in 4 years. I've only built 2 in my life, and this will make the 3rd. So it's not that hard to build. It's honestly harder to make a jigsaw, or to do a jigsaw puzzle, honestly, unless you get one of those toddler ones with the giant pieces. And if you can't figure out one of those toddler ones with the giant pieces, guess what? You probably shouldn't be putting this together. But let me tell you, it's easy, and you should not discourage yourself from building one yourself. And don't pay that exorbitant amount of money to have a company build it for you, because you can make it a lot more personal and make it gorgeous yourself by just doing it yourself. So watch this video and see how easy it really is, and stop discouraging yourself. So if you need to know what you're going to do and you want to find out some stuff and how to build one, you know what you need to do? You need to stick around. Alright everyone, what we're going to do is a speed run. So real quick, you need your anti-static band. I made one out of my own. You want to connect it to somewhere that's grounded, like a power supply that's plugged in but not turned on. You also want your isopropyl alcohol, and you want that microfiber cloth, and then you get ready to open up your motherboard. We're going to do a speed run, so try to keep up with everything that I'm going to tell you here, because it takes a long time if I did not speed all this up. And it's going to be fun, I think, trying to figure out what the heck's going on. But you're going to see me build a computer for the first time in 4 years. So look at all the stuff we get. We get quick connectors. That's not with all motherboards, but it makes it awesome. We don't need that disk because we're going to get those drivers from somewhere else, like the website itself, because we want the newest. And the back plate. That's a nice back plate. Don't ever forget to put that in, because it tends to happen to a lot of people. And ASUS is awesome, and we all love ASUS. But anyways, going in, make sure you get the right bracket for what you need. Look at the instructions to see what application requires what bracket. Then you take out your thing and you see all the thermal paste and all your different nuts and bolts and stuff like that. And get your heatsink out and get it all ready. And you're gonna see that plastic there. Keep that on there until you're ready to actually, put the unit on there, because you don't want to mess up anything. You don't want to get scratches or dirty or anything of that nature. So going on to it. Let's get ready. Now see this back plate? We want to take that back plate right on off. And now with that back plate off, you'll be able to actually install the new one from AMD or from Cooler Master for your AMD side. Now you'll want the non-conductive back, as you see, that's facing up right now, and I'll show you that. But take off these mounts first, because if you don't take off these mounts first, how the heck are you going to get everything else on? So, like I said, we're going to be running through things quick. This is just to show you how easy it really is to build a computer, because I haven't done it in so long, so it should be hard, right? But no, it really wasn't. So let's keep watching. Okay, so we're going to flip the motherboard upside down. Here we go. And then now we have our non-conductive back for us to put it right on there, so we can't short out anything. You're going to match up the right holes for what you need. You're going to stick that bad boy right on there. And then you're going to basically just take the board, lift it up here, take these bolts and nuts and bolts, and you're going to find the appropriate ones for your application and screw them on through and get everything connected, or get everything started. Put your little nuts on them. Wow, that really didn't sound right, but you get the idea. Put the nuts on the bolts. Yeah, there you go. And just keep going. And you want to do it in a way where you are tightening everything equally. So, you know, you do everything in a crisscross pattern and keep going back and forth, and that's how you're going to see me run everything throughout this whole build. So let's continue to keep watching as I'm building some more. Okay, so now you see we have our bolt sticking up that we need, just like the instructions say, and getting ready to put in the processor. So you'll see, to put in the processor, there's going to be a little arrow right in the corner, and you're going to match that arrow with the other arrow that's in the corner right on the board. So then, as you're going down, make sure you lift this up. Don't forget, you're going to lift that up. Although it doesn't seem to do the same as Intel does with that and all the crunching noises, it still is needed to be done. Seat it right in there. It can seem a little tedious. Don't be very gentle with it. Very gentle. Those pins are very brittle. And then just boom, push that down nice and soft, and you're all set. And the CPU is seated, and we're ready to actually get this thing with a cooler mounted right on it. Okay, so with our little bracket mount here, this is very important. Put these to the middle for the one that I needed, for the AMD chip that I needed, but those screws move, so you can move them. You'll see the different slots they can go in. I know it's moving a little fast, but also make sure you alcohol wipe down all the areas with, you know, highest percentage alcohol you can get. Isopropyl alcohol, that is, of course. I'm not talking about stick some Jack Daniels on a rag and start wiping down your system. You don't want to do that. Trust me. I didn't try it. Or did I? So we're going to put a pea-sized shape. That's a little too much on the thermal paste, by the way. So I should have just put a pea-sized shape. Put the other clamp part that you saw with the screws in before you put down the CPU. Now we're going to screw everything down, but I'm going to be perfectly honest. It's going to take a lot of force, and it's going to feel like you're going to break something, but you're going to have to force the living hell out of those. So don't be afraid, but that's how it needs to be done. And I know mine slid around a little bit on here. Like I said, I had a little too much thermal paste. You want about a pea-sized shape right in the middle. That seems to work really good. But even though I had a little bit more than I needed, it wasn't excessive. It wasn't all running down the side, so it did good. And that's all you really need to do to make sure that your thermal paste coats everything equally, because with the pressure you'll notice when you're screwing this down, and like I said, you're going to do a crisscross pattern, keep swapping around so you can make sure that you can get an even tighten on everything. Now, like I said, it's going to feel like so hard to tighten, but that is also why, you know, the thermal paste spreads out. So let's put on our fan, you know, now that we've got it all set in there, and we can stick that right on. And let's get into the next part, and which is our RAM. This is our RAM right here, and you're going to notice the notch matches up with the notches in the board, as you see right there. And that is going to be a big help. Now you're going to flick open your one side. Sometimes it has two, and you're going to just push it down. And when you push it down hard enough, you'll just see it click. Now, don't force it. If it feels like it's not going in right, don't force it. But it should just have a little bit of force, and boom, it'll pop right in. As you see right there, it clipped in all on its own. Now, it's in there really tight, as you could see. But our next stick of RAM, you're not going to stick it in the next slot. No. And it'll see. You're going to not stick it in that. No. You're going to stick it in the appropriate same colored slot, as this is dual channel memory here that we're doing. So you want to stick it in the dual channel part. It went into the black strip before, so this one's going into the black strip and not the blue strip. And then same thing if you get more RAM, and there you go. Voila. Now let's plug in our fan header. Okay, and as we plug in our fan header here, we'll see that you want to just make it as neat as you possibly can. So put it to the one that's appropriate, and this will be able to control your CPU fan right from the motherboard. So there you go. Now you're all set to cool off your CPU. let's go into the EVGA, and you have our Fractal design. Take out all your nuts, bolts, and screws, whatever kind of stuff you might possibly need, because now we have to get into the nitty-gritty. And let's build this thing. Let's start putting in some power supplies and all types of components. Modular is so awesome, by the way. Love Modular. Makes things so much better as a wiring dream. I wish the 24 pin was modular, but I still dealt with this. Time to get screwed in. We want to screw in the power supply. Screw in the power supply. Want to make sure it's in there good. Match up the appropriate ones that would match your case, like Fractal design included really nice same case colored ones, unlike the bright silver that EVGA decided to include, which EVGA, not everyone's back is silver, just letting you know. Dust filter, make sure always make sure you keep that dust filter clean, but it's nice that it slides in and slides out. This is a really great case. I love the Fractal design R4. Very important, motherboard standoffs. You're going to want to kind of match them up, but this case was awesome enough to actually say which ones use them. It actually said M or A, and I wanted the ones for ATX, so it would be A. But not all of them are going to be like that, and they also do give me an awesome tool to use. Thank you so much, ASUS, or was it Fractal? I think it was Fractal who actually gave me that. So thank you, Fractal, for having something so awesome to use to tighten down these standoffs. And the standoffs are so you cannot have the motherboard touching the metal back panel and short crap out, because that's what would happen. So now you just screw in all your standoffs and make it ready for your motherboard. Just make sure all your standoffs align to where your motherboard is supposed to be. So just kind of, you can take your motherboard and sit it a little bit down and see where they go. But you get the idea. Don't forget the back plate. Never forget the back plate. So many people do. I've done it before. You gotta remember the back plate, and you'll be so mad if you don't. This is a gorgeous back plate, by the way. It really fits in well with the case. Hurrah to ASUS on that one, because ASUS is my favorite manufacturer of motherboards and graphics cards, stuff of that nature. So yeah, gotta love ASUS. Now you can hold it by the cooler, because remember, you attach that thing, it's almost like it might as well be part of the motherboard the way you attach that cooler. So you can use the cooler to help you guide it in a little bit. And now let's get our screws out and let's start putting these screws into the actual standoffs through the holes it's supposed to be, and get this thing seated in there as good as we possibly, as good as it's supposed to be, and I don't even know what that means. So regardless, just screw in the board. I mean, you get the idea. You put the standoffs in there for a reason. So now you get to use what those standoffs are for. Alright, it's time for the GPU, the 960, which I chose to go with something that could still do a good job, but if he ever needed more, my friend, if he ever needed more, he could just buy another one, and it's a lot easier to change out than a CPU and motherboard and all that, because it's kind of like plug and play. But look at this, you get that DVI to VGA adapter that I use actually, and look at all this, instructions, ASUS GPU tweak. I just get all that online. There's no need for any of that. So let's look at this. Look at the great heat pipes and the great backplate. I love the backplate. ASUS, gotta love ASUS. They just look awesome. I mean, come on. Everything about ASUS is just awesome. But they do have weird color schemes. Like, I guess they expect me to put that in a Republic of Gamers one because red and black, but yet they put a blue board. I don't know. But anyways, so you want to match up right there. You know, you'll see the port, the PCI Express port that you'll need. I think it's PCI Express 16. It's been so long, I don't even remember what the ports are called. Jeez, but I know where they go. So that's where you're gonna put your graphics card. It used to be an AGP port, but now it's like PCI Express. So you're not going to take off the top one. You actually want to take, as much as you would think it's the top one, no, it's actually the back two. I mean the two underneath it that need to be taken off. So take off the back plates that you need, and this goes for any card that you're going to put in a PC. You know, match up to where it's going to go before you go taking off that. Now some of them don't come off like this and go back on. Some of them you pop them out and that's it on the cheaper cases. So be aware when you do that. So you just push this in, really. I mean, you know, you just make sure it goes where it goes, and you boom. Now there you go. It's pushed in. You seat it in, and all you really need to do is you could take the same ones that you took off to use to take the doors off. You put the same non-tool needed threads back on. So now this is something that not all include. This is awesome. This is so you can put all your jumpers for the case onto the board, and it tells you everything instead of having to look on the motherboard or in the manual for where these go. But this is how it goes. It's the same plugs that would go into your motherboard just go into this, and it's just easier. So when you're done, you know, with putting this together, you could just stick it right onto the spot that it's supposed to be. No fuss, no muss. It's the same idea though. You know, the power LED, the ground, and all that, you know, the power switch, that's how all that gets put in. And you're going to take it once it's done and just boop right onto the motherboard. Take a USB port as well, because they do the same thing with the USB cord. And then you go in so it's raised up. And now let's just start wiring, you know, some stuff up. It's time to really get on wiring. Look at all the USB ports are wiring in now. And you'll see they kind of just match up, and some boards say it, or you might have to look through the manual, but it's very plug and play, simple, easy to do. Not leading you wrong on this one, trust me. It's really easy to figure out. And now when you're doing your hard drive as well, you're gonna want to match up the holes that you're gonna do. Now this awesome case came with these rubber grommets, so there's really no vibration noise. This case is all about sound cancellation basically. And now you're just gonna stick it right in, and I took out the middle drive cage because I wanted that straight airflow going right through the case. But as you see, the drive cages are gorgeous. They have Fractal design right on them. And now on the SSD here, which is tiny, I mean the thing is like, it's like a chip, it's like nothing. But you use the inner 4 holes, you match up the holes, and then boop, right in there. There you go again. So it's so simple to put all this. Now the drive is, I didn't really show you everything on the drive. It's simple though in this sense that you're just gonna open the door on this case, but it's the same as any drive. Those 2 drive bays that you see at the top, as you see, that's where the drive is sitting right now. You just put it through the front of the case, and you just wire it up. It's nothing tough at all. If you can't figure that out, I don't know how you built the rest of this already. So if you're already at this step and you can't figure out how to put the CD drive in, then I don't know how you figured out the rest of this. So just start wiring. Keep wiring it up. Let's get this done. Remember as you're doing this to keep your wiring neat. Just remember this. So now let's move around to the back is what I think we're going to be doing soon here. But the 24-pin power connector cable is a big mamba jamba. You're going to feed that through. Like I said, make sure you try to keep everything as neat as possible because you want it to look gorgeous inside, don't you? Well, I would imagine so. So let's keep watching. See right there, I didn't like how it came up and it was draped across, so, you know, take some extra steps that you might need to do to make sure that it's going to look as good as it possibly can. So I decided, you know what, even though it's coming through the bottom, I'm going to just use the back of the case to shorten the wire in a sense, but have it run right back through the bottom. You know, who says I couldn't do that? So what it'll end up doing is creating a lot more uniform and good looking of a cable wiring job. So, or a cable management job. So there it is. So that's that part. Now that is your USB 3.0. You kind of can't miss it. It's so obvious of a port on the motherboard. So you know that's your USB 3.0 header for your for the front of your case. All those in the front there are your SATA ports, as you see plugging in. I mean, everything is a plug and play in the sense that nothing else really fits in those spots, so you kind of should get the idea already. And then just wire up all the stuff as you need. Alright, so since we're coming to the end of this, I want to tell you everything about it, what we've gone to do. So we're going to go take a look at the back and see how we're going to finish up the wiring, but basically this has been everything here. I don't really have a fancy ending or anything special. It's just going to really just show you a picture of the case from the outside because as we see here, we're watching the whole time the case from the inside. This was like an afterthought, but I wanted to show you all how easy it was to build a PC, even though I haven't done it in 4 years and I only built 2 and now 3. This is my 3rd computer ever built, as you see, and I'll tell you what, I think it works amazing and looks amazing thanks to that Fractal Design Define R4 case and all these awesome parts from ASUS and EVGA. So look at that, there it is, and we're good to go. Hope you enjoyed. I want to thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, please make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you dislike the video, please make sure that you tell me why in the comments down below. Feel free to comment, and also make sure you share this out to people so they can know about the awesome videos that I have for you. Don't forget to follow me at Twitter at ReadySetGame87, and you can also watch me live at twitch.tv and hitbox.tv/ReadySetGame87. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.